Okay, I am Steve Krakow. Some know me as Plastic Crimewave. Played in a bunch of bands over the years. Plastic Crimewave Sound, now it's Plastic Crimewave Syndicate. I do a comic strip thing for the Chicago Reader called Secret History of Chicago Music. I do a magazine called Galactic Zoo Dossier that covers sort of obscure and populist psychedelia. And I've been buying records since I'm about 7 years old. Sometimes I just meet an old guy and he's like, hey, you know I was in this band? And I'm like, great, give me your email, let's talk. You know, I want to know more. You know, also being an art guy, I like the art big, and I've drawn a number of album covers and I don't want to see it that big. You know, I want to see at least 45 size. The dream is like an LP gatefold, which I have had the pleasure of drawing a few LP gatefolds. I mean, you can really branch out. Obviously, having the thing in its original form as it came out originally, not remastered, not the artwork, because I've seen reissues even of LPs that like the colors change a little bit. I mean, if you want to get really sort of anal about it, that's ideal. I mean, some of those records are worth thousands of dollars and I'm never going to have an original, and I'll take a reissue and that's completely fine with me. But, you know, same with a comic, like a lot of people read them online or, you know, on their tablet or something like that, and it's like, well, kind of having that original comic that some kid bought in 1971 as it was originally intended and released, that's the ideal, you know. I mean, when you're moving it all, which I haven't moved in 18 years, as you can see, then you may regret it with vinyl, because it's heavy. Group 1850 from Holland. I think they were from The Hague. Really weird, out there, psychedelic bands. I think it was like about 68, 69. Maybe later. Yeah, Wild Dudes, from what I've read. Dude had a custom-made crazy synthesizer and this little song called Mother No Head. You know it's gonna be a good one when you hear that title. This is a little reissue I helped with the Chicago band Ono. Best band in Chicago, possibly in the world. They were a band I found for Secret History of Chicago Music. Sort of had to track down Travis. Found out he lived about 4 blocks from me, P. Michael, which was funny. And he actually gave me his record collection before he moved and contributed to this because he moved back down to the south side. But and then they reformed after that, and they're playing all the time, like literally weekly. And they have tons of fans, kids see them, and they're like, oh my God, these are freaky people who have been making music for like 30 years, and you can tell they're sort of like, they're like in awe, you know, like, oh my God, this is the real thing. This here is a little General Crook. One of the first guys I actually wrote up for my strip in Chicago. I did not know till recently this existed. This is a French picture sleeve of a really obscure Chicago guy. His early stuff's a little more kind of like funkadelic. This is a little more like Parliament or P-Funk. He's kind of followed in that trajectory, but you know, despite a little writing on there, it's a pretty cool cover. I like this weird grainy photocopy vibe that they went with for, you know, and you get the instrumental and the vocal version, of course, too. That's, you know, that's important. This is probably one of the rare krautrock jams I got. Limbus 4 Mandalas. It's about as out there as this cover looks. Got out of a collection, this cat Bill Vermette, who's been doing crazy synth music since the 70s. We actually reissued his record with Permanent Records that he put out in the 80s. Real spacey kind of krautrock stuff, but yeah, totally experimental, weird stuff. All right, this is a U.S. pressing of the Hapstash in the Colored Coat, featuring the Human Host and the Heavy Metal Kids LP. It's a mono. It's got the little sticker on it someone put on to let you know it's a mono. But they were British, kind of combines many things I love, because they were actually British artist poster guys who did amazing, like some of the most iconic like UK psychedelic posters. And you can tell by this fabulous cover, you know, they had it down. Some people actually say that this sort of birthed the whole krautrock thing, because it's this sort of free-form communal rhythmic kind of jams that supposedly that band Almondul got their hands on it and sort of were like, oh, we could do that in a real German kind of way. And it's produced by Guy Stevens, who's a total nut job too. He produced like The Clash and Moth the Hoople and stuff like that, just known for being like a real wild man kind of guy who made it from the punk era to the, you know, from the hippie era to the punk era and all that. But probably one of my favorite LPs of all time too. I don't know, I mean, I guess I do have small problems with the word collector, and it's just semantics, because it does sort of imply that guy who's just like, I'm putting this in a bag and I'm filing it away and I'm flipping them and I'm gonna put them on eBay, and it's like, why don't you just do stocks and bonds, man? You know, why do you have to take this thing that has something spiritual and artistic value to it and sort of treat it as just a commodity?